Dr. Edith Eva Eger is a pioneer in the field of psychology, teaching people how to use their pain to help them heal. At age 90, Dr. Eger wrote her first book, The Choice: Embrace the Possible. Her powerful message rings true for me. She writes that our painful experiences are not a liability, they are a gift. I am forever changed by her story, and I know you will be too.
I didn't know anything until I saw our wife, Mark Fry. And I didn't know where I was, and everything was chaos. That my father looked at that and said, it can't be bad because we're just going to work and then we go home. And then we were separated. Then I met Dr. Mengele, who told my mother to go one way and my sister and I the other. And I followed my mother, and he grabbed me and he said in German, you're going to see your mother soon, she's just going to take a shower. I ended up dancing for Dr. Mengele, and I closed my eyes and I pretended that the music was Tchaikovsky, and I was dancing the Romeo and Juliet at the Budapest Opera House. So when I finished dancing, he gave me bread, and I shared the bread with the girls. And when I was on a death march, going from Mauthausen to Gunskirchen, if you stopped, you were shot right away. And I was really slowing down, and I thought I'm going to be stopped too, and I was going to be shot. And the girls that I shared the bread with, they came and carried me so I wouldn't die. Isn't that amazing? The worst condition brings out the best in us.
On May 4th, 1945, close to 1 year after being imprisoned by the Nazis, an American soldier from the 71st Infantry discovered Edith lying beneath a pile of dead bodies with a broken back, typhoid fever, pneumonia, and pleurisy. Edith was barely alive. What was your mantra?
My mantra?
Yes.
If I survive today, then tomorrow I will show my boyfriend my eyes and my hands.
Yes.
It was the boyfriend that told me I have beautiful eyes, because when I was put on a cattle car, he said, I'll never forget your beautiful eyes and beautiful hands.
I know.
So this is what I said.
Yeah.
You know, if I survive today, then tomorrow I'll be free.
Yeah, the way you wrote that, it felt like a scene out of a movie. You're in the cattle car, there are the thousands of bodies squeezed up against each other, and through the slats in the cattle car, he yells, I will never forget your eyes and your hands. Yeah. Those words are gonna live with me and everyone who reads this book, who has the privilege of reading your story. You have the choice.
Yes.
You have the choice.
You have the choice to really see the light and see a gift in everything. Everything has a gift in it.
So even in Auschwitz, you could find that?
Even in Auschwitz, I could really, truly found that part in me that the Nazis could throw me in the gas chamber any minute, beat me, torture me. There's one thing they could never do, is murder my spirit. And that's what I bring.
Thank you so much for agreeing to meet with me today. I'm very honoured. I know that you've got close family links to Australia,
Yes.
and you've got a whole cheering squad there watching tonight. Everyone is really very excited about tonight. Dr. Egger,
Yes.
psychologist,
Yes.
Holocaust survivor,
Yes.
author of 2 very acclaimed books, mother, grandmother, great-grandmother.
Yes.
Through your books and your talks, you've reached the hearts and the minds of the worldwide community. And your notion of choice, which is encouraging people to empower themselves and to help us free ourselves on the inside. What do you think it is about that concept that has inspired so many people to think about it, and so much of like a fever about that notion?
You know, we Jewish people survived because our ancestors were walking on the desert for years, I understand. And guess what? They never gave up.
Yes.
And I think we carry that blood
Yes.
because we Jewish people were not welcomed. And yet, somehow, no matter what happens, I have a choice never ever to give up and find hope in hopelessness and look at everything in life as an opportunity to discover,
Yes.
as Auschwitz was for me, how I'm going to respond rather than react.
Yes. One of the most chilling things, expressions, you wondered whether anyone was thinking of you or knowing where you were.
Yes.
And that feeling of
Yes.
maybe invisibility
Thank
and
you.
not feeling human. And was it like society didn't care?
I said to myself, does anyone know that I'm here?
Yes. Yes.
I felt so thrown out.
Yes.
You know, after a while, you believe, unfortunately, what you're hearing,
Yes.
unless you realize that this is temporary and you can
Yes.
survive it.
Yes.
Yes, I am. Yes, I can. Yes, I will. A lot of yeses.
When we talk about this, it reminds me a little bit of the people that are struggling with infertility and how they feel alone and maybe minimized and really not part, like on the outside. And also anyone, I suppose, that's having challenges. And I'm just wondering if you've got anything to say about that.
Well, I like to really tell you that when I was in the cattle car, my mother told me, we don't know where we're going.
Yes.
We don't know what's going to happen. Just remember, no one can take away what you put in your mind.
Yes.
She said it to me in
Yes.
Hungarian.
Can you say it for me in Hungarian?
Mindent elvittek tőlem, de nem az eszemet. Az eszem velem volt mindig. I had my mind all along.
Yes.
I lost everything,
Yes.
even my mom, but they still had the way I was able to turn that terrible situation into an opportunity and discover my inner resources.
Yes.
I owe it to my parents to let people know what can happen when good people do
Yes.
terrible things.
Yes.
And people ask me, where was God in Auschwitz?
Yes.
And my answer is, God didn't kill my people. God was with me. Actually, God was guiding me to turn hatred into
Yes.
pity.
Yes.
And I realized that I still have a choice
Yes.
not to allow them
Yeah.
to murder my spirit.
Yes.
They could throw me in a gas chamber any minute. They told me I'm subhuman.
The way that you say it is, in fact, it's a gift. The suffering, in a sense, is a gift.
Everything is a gift.
Yes.
Without Auschwitz, I wouldn't be who I am
Yes.
today. I am much more compassionate.
Yes.
And I think if we commit each other
Yes.
to each other
Yes.
and form that human family And this is what I found in Australia in the Jewish
Yes,
community.
yeah. There is a wonderful community.
A wonderful community.
What was it about the support that you and your sister gave to each other that was so vital for you? I mean, it feels to me after reading it that you really kept each other alive.
Exactly. And if you ask her,
Yes.
she'll tell you she took care of me. If you ask me, I will tell you I took care of her.
Okay, so the perfect partnership.
Yeah, well, she was more hungry than I was. So I would eat that soup, which was filled with all kinds of medication. And then I saved the bread,
Yes.
which really wasn't a bread. But I remember the following day, I would tell Magda that I really don't want my bread. So you see, you had to take care of each other.
Yes,
If
yes,
you were just for
yes.
the me,
Yes.
you didn't make it.
And that reminds me of the night after you were with Mengele, dancing with Mengele, and you shared that piece of bread that he gave you with a few of the other
Exactly.
women, and then at the end it came back and it was your generosity was returned.
I like to point out that the worst condition can bring out the best in us, because we were in a death march going from Mauthausen to Gunskirchen. When we were in a death march, if you stopped, you were shot right away. And I began to slow down, and the girls that I shared the bread with came and formed a chair with their arms,
Yes.
and they carried me so I wouldn't die. Isn't that amazing?
Amazing. And that's really what community is about. I mean,
That's
it's
right. All we have is each other
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And I know that the Jewish community, especially in Australia, is very, very close.
The power of community is
Tremendous.
that's where it starts from. If people can feel okay by themselves, then they can work together in the community to support one another. I mean, you've had 3 children, you've got 3 children that you've reared, and you lost a family, and you also created a family. Can you just talk a little bit about what family and continuity means to you?
When I became pregnant,
Yes.
the doctor told me I'm not strong enough to have a child.
Yes.
And I'm a survivor.
Yes.
He came back to the house that evening. I got up and said, "Sir, I want to give life. Good
Yes.
night."
Yes.
And thank God we're not there. But I'd like to tell you that after 2 beautiful girls, I finally had a son.
Yes. Yes.
And my late husband was so happy because he's going to carry the Rabbi Akiva Eger's name.
Right.
But my son did not develop the way my girls did.
Yes.
He didn't
know
sit
that,
up,
yes.
he didn't walk, he didn't talk. I was told by 5 doctors that he may, we don't use that word anymore, be going to a school for retarded
Yes,
children.
yes.
So I asked, where do I get a second opinion?
Yes.
I took my son up to Johns Hopkins. A Dr. Clark, a beautiful neurologist, after a week examination, told me, "Hey, mother, your son is not retarded, even though he has the droopy eyes and so on. And he's going to be what you make of him." Imagine how I feel. And I'm shaking. And he said he's going to need speech therapy, occupational therapy, you name it. And then he'll do anything anybody else does. It's going to take him longer to get there.
Yes.
That's exactly what happened. It was $10. I went home to Texas. I dropped out of school.
Yes.
And my son John graduated as a top 10 student from the University of Texas. So that's what I bring.
Yes.
You
When you tell
find
it, yes.
hope in hopelessness.
Yes.
You
Yes.
try anything If I can't get in the front door, I'm going to look for the side window. And if that doesn't work, I probably go to the chimney.
Yes.
Never, ever just give
Yes,
in
yes.
and give up. I'm a very proud Jewish woman because I respect my ancestor who didn't have it as good as I do today. And I am very grateful to carry that blood.
Yes.
And hopefully I do everything in my power that my children, my grandchildren, my 7 great-grandsons,
They're all
which is my
they're all
best revenge to
great-grandsons.
Hitler,
Yes.
that
Yes.
they will never
Yes.
experience what I did. So I like prevention, and I think you are doing God's work here. So you must feel good about yourself, that you're committed.
I'm interested in how you join the ideas of the gift with the choice. What you say is your difficulties in your life and your traumas and the suffering that you've gone through, you see it as a gift in a sense. It is a gift, and that's what makes you who you are. People that are undergoing infertility or other challenges in their life, could you explain to them how you transformed and transcended what you went through in Auschwitz and turned it into a gift, and how you got to it being a choice?
As I'm listening to you, I'm reminded of 2 things that happened to me, that I was told one thing and I found another, and I was put in a place that I was not prepared for. And you may also experience that something you were not prepared for, and you were maybe told one thing and found another. So I ask the 2 of you to acknowledge that an experience will give you the opportunity to look at it as the best thing that is happening, because it's an opportunity to look at it as an opportunity. How you can become closer with each other, how you can really have a way to even have more meaning and purpose in your existence, and even accept reality after you have done all the research and all the things that is humanly possible. So I think everything is happening for our greater good. So I hope that this interview will give me the opportunity also, as you say, not why me, but what now?
Yeah.
And how we can unite and how we can empower each other with
Yes.
our differences.
Yes. Can I ask you a favor? As we end our conversation, which has been the most wonderful thing for me, would you do a little kick for me?
Of course.
Woo! Yeah. Fantastic.
Yes. Hello, all. I want to congratulate you for your commitment, for your courage, for the beautiful ways that you are helping so many people, so many couples. And I wish I would be there with you. I had a beautiful, beautiful interview with Margot in my living room in La Jolla. So I want to wish you all the best. I know that you can give life and mostly courage and hope and lots of joy, and hoping that someday I'm going to be there with you, giving you a hug. Or thank you again. God bless you so much. Bye-bye.